I wake to the taste of metal in my mouth, the way you do when you've been grinding your teeth all night. The room is still dark, but my phone is a white-hot coal on the nightstand. 5:05 a.m. The name Lydia Voss burns across the screen like a brand. I don't want to read it. I read it anyway. Gate code changed. Deadbolts installed. Jonah and the boys need the lake house without your constant criticism breathing down their necks. Don't come unannounced. The sentence lands in my chest like a fist. My lungs forget how to work for a second. I sit up too fast. The room tilts. My bare feet hit the cold floor and I'm already moving, already reaching for the mug I haven't even filled yet. The ceramic slips, shatters. Coffee hisses across the hardwood in dark, frantic rivers. I stand in the scalding puddle and let it burn because pain with a source is honest. Pain I can see, smell, feel blistering my skin is better than the invisible kind that's been eating me alive for 6 years. I am Mira Vega, 34. Senior risk analyst at Halstead Capital. I can smell a toxic asset from 3 zip codes away. I once stared down a room full of hedge fund alphas and talked them out of a 9-figure loss with nothing but a whiteboard, a red marker, and a voice that refused to shake. I have closed deals that made grown men sweat through their Tom Ford suits. And yet here I am, barefoot in spilled coffee, staring at a text that just evicted me from a house I have never once been allowed to call mine. I open the banking app with fingers that feel borrowed. The auto pay is still there, smug in its little green box. $2, $400, Lake House mortgage, due on SD. 86 payments. 86 mornings I woke up, opened the app, and tapped confirm like a penitent pressing a bruise to make sure it still hurt. $206,400. I have the muscle memory of it the way other people remember their first kiss. My thumb hovers over cancel. The screen asks, "Are you sure you want to stop this?" Recurring payment? Asterisk, asterisk. I press yes so hard the glass creaks under my nail. The confirmation banner flashes green. For the first time in 6 years, the chain snaps. I feel it in my spine, one vertebra at a time, like someone finally cut the marionette strings and let me fall forward into my own body. I sink to my knees in the coffee, shards of mug biting into my skin, and I laugh. The sound ricochets off stainless steel appliances, bounces back distorted and wild. I sound unhinged. Maybe I am. Maybe this is what breaking free feels like, sharp, wet, and a little bit like bleeding. 6 years ago, I sat in a title office that smelled of burnt coffee and desperation. The fluorescent lights buzzed like dying insects. Mom's mascara had already started its slow, practiced descent down her cheeks. Dad stood behind her, arms folded so tight his knuckles went white, his silence heavier than the oak paneling. Jonah, 28, unemployed for the 3rd time that year, smelling of boat wax and entitlement, leaned against the wall like he was waiting for an Uber that would never come. "You know Jonah's credit is shot," Mom whispered, tears trembling on her lower lashes like they'd been rehearsed in a mirror. "Do you want your nephews sleeping in a motel? What kind of aunt would that make you?" Dad didn't speak. He never needed to. His silence was a gavel, and I was already convicted. I remember the pen trembling in my hand. The mortgage officer sliding the documents across the table like a dealer laying down cards in a game I didn't know I was playing. 30-year fixed. 4.125%. My name alone on the liability line. The deed in the Voss family trust, Dad as trustee, Jonah as primary beneficiary. I was the collateral damage written in the fine print no one bothered to read aloud. "It's temporary," Jonah had said, clapping my shoulder hard enough to leave a bruise shaped like his palm print. 18 months tops. Then I'll refinance. Scout's honor, Mira. I signed. The ink looked blacker than my future. I remember the exact second the pen left the paper, how the room exhaled, how Mom's tears dried up like magic, how Dad finally unfolded his arms and gave me the nod. The nod. The one I'd been chasing since I was 7 years old and brought home a report card full of A's and he'd said, "Good. Now do it again next quarter." I signed because I thought love was a currency I could earn if I just paid enough. Back in my kitchen, the broken mug lies in pieces around me like a crime scene. I crouch, pick up a shard. The edge slices my thumb clean, bright red. I watch the blood bead, fascinated. Pain with a source. Pain I can bandage. Pain that doesn't whisper you should have known better in my mother's voice. I open Instagram. Tessa, Jonah's wife, all teeth and filters and curated chaos, posted 12 hours ago. Jonah stands beside a gleaming cobalt speedboat, arms slung around their eldest, caption screaming in all caps, protecting the Voss legacy for our sons. Hard work pays off. Hashtag family first, hashtag lake life, hashtag blessed, ***. Hard work. My work. My 80-hour weeks. My bonus checks funneled into dock repairs after the 22 hurricane shredded the pier like tissue paper. My Christmas tax payments so they could string fairy lights along a walkway I wasn't invited to stand on. My emergency credit card that Jonah treated like an ATM with my face on it. I laugh again, and this time it comes out wet. I'm crying. I didn't even feel the tears start. I start a new spreadsheet. I title it Voss Family Hemorrhage. Columns. Date amount category lie told to justify. Rows fill like a confession booth. 07/15/2019 $18,000 dock rebuild, storm damage, insurance denied, dad's heart can't take the stress. 12/01/2020 $9,000 furnace replacement, pipes burst, boys were freezing, think of the children, Mira. 05/03/2022 $6,200 septic pump failure, health hazard, county inspection, please, before someone gets sick. 08/14/2023 $5,800 boat motor, emergency. Engine died mid-lake. Safety issue. 11/30/2021 $12,000 marble kitchen island, granite, is so 2010 Mira. The boys deserve better. 06/22/2020 $7,500 roof shingles, leak over the master, mold is dangerous for the baby. I keep going. Property taxes every December like clockwork. The $3,200 emergency vet bill when Jonah's dog ate a sock. The $1,800 surprise birthday yacht rental for Dad's 60th that somehow ended up on my card. Every decimal a drop of my life, siphoned off and poured into a house I wasn't allowed to enter without permission. By the time the sun claws over the skyline, painting my walls the color of dried blood, the total glares back at me, $312, $880. I whisper it to the empty room. The number tastes like rust and regret. My phone rings, Mom. I let it ring until voicemail swallows it, then play the message on speaker so the apartment can hear the performance. Mira, Jonah says you're being dramatic about the locks. It's not personal. The boys need stability. Call me. Stability. Built on my instability. My sleepless nights. My skipped vacations. My student loans that I paid off early so I could help more. My 30th birthday spent wiring $8,000 for a new boiler because winter's coming and the baby can't be cold. I dress for war. Charcoal suit sharp enough to cut glass, hair in a knot so tight it pulls at my scalp like a warning. I slide the USB drive into my blazer pocket. Every receipt, every transfer, every lie, its weight like a loaded clip. I catch my reflection in the hallway mirror. I look like a woman who has finally decided to stop apologizing for existing. At the office, Priya, my assistant, 26, terrified of confrontation, eyes like a startled doe, meets me at the elevator. You okay? You look like I'm about to audit my own family? Good. I hand her the drive. Encrypt this. Password, legicize alienability. By 11:17 a.m., Jonah storms the lobby. Security radio's up. I ride down in the executive elevator, watching the floors tick like a countdown to an execution. The doors slide open to marble and mayhem. Jonah's tie is crooked, face the color of Merlot left too long in the sun. Colleagues form a semicircle, phones half-raised like they're waiting for the fight to go viral. He spots me and charges, loafers slapping the floor. You're trying to make my kids homeless. Spit flies. Over money? I step into his orbit, close enough to smell the bourbon on his breath despite the hour, close enough to see the broken capillaries in his eyes. You've had 6 years rent-free. Compound interest on silence is a bitch. He lunges. Security intercepts, 2 guards in cheap suits, suddenly earning their paychecks. Jonah thrashes, tie flapping like a surrender flag. You'll burn for this, Mira. Blood's thicker than your spreadsheets. The elevator doors close on his screaming face. In the mirrored walls, I catch Aunt Selena's reflection. She's been watching from the Starbucks kiosk, silver braid gleaming like a blade. She lifts her latte in salute, eyes glittering with something that might be pride. That night, the diner smells of grease and regret and the ghost of 1,000 bad decisions. Selena slides into the booth opposite me, leather jacket creaking like old bones. She's 62, built like a hawk, eyes that miss nothing. Grandma's only daughter. Executor of the will. The family's nuclear option and the only one who ever looked at me like I was more than a checking account with legs. I push the printouts across the table, the paper still warm from the printer. Dad breached fiduciary duty. Article 4, Paragraph 2, no preferential treatment of beneficiaries. I want the house sold. Every cent returned. With interest. Selena flips pages with the precision of a surgeon. Her finger stops on the boat charge. Textbook exploitation. She looks up, and for the first time I see something soft in her eyes. You. Ready to burn the village to save it? I'm ready to stop being the village idiot. She smiles, small, sharp, satisfied. Then she flips to the last page. Grandma's handwriting, spidery but unmistakable, dated 3 months before she died in the hospital bed that smelled of antiseptic and lilies. Codicil. If any trustee uses trust assets to enrich one child at the expense of another, the deprived beneficiary may force immediate sale and claw back funds at prime plus 3%, compounded monthly. I do the math in my head. 6 years. Prime plus 3 is roughly 8.25%. Compounded monthly. My pulse hammers in my ears. Selena watches my face. Roughly 412,000, give or take. They owe you a fortune, kid. The diner spins. I grip the table until my knuckles go white. They'll fight. Let them. Truth is a hell of a weapon. She reaches across the table, covers my hand with hers. Her skin is cool, papery steady. You're not the little girl who signed those papers anymore. You're the storm now. Dad's retirement gala is held at the country club, where he's been president since I was in braces, and he still pretended to care about my math trophies. Chandeliers drip light like melting wax. The string quartet murders Vivaldi in 3/4 time. The air smells of orchids and old money and the faint desperation of people who've spent decades pretending they're happy. I wear black, funeral chic, the kind of dress that says I'm not here to celebrate. The USB drive in my clutch feels like a grenade with the pin half pulled. I can feel it pulsing against my hip with every step. Jonah takes the stage first, all dimples and practiced humility. Before we toast Dad's 40 years, I want to thank my sister Mira. She's always supported us quietly, behind the scenes. The unsung hero of the Voss legacy. Applause ripples like water. He beams at me like I'm a prop in his one-man show. I walk to the podium. Heels strike hardwood like gunfire. Jonah squeezes my shoulder as we pass, hard enough to leave a bruise shaped like his entitlement. Family first, right sis? I take the mic. The room hushes so completely I can hear the ice melting in someone's glass. Thank you, Jonah. Since we're discussing legacy, I nod to the AV kid, a nervous sophomore in a rented tux. The screen behind me ignites. Slide 1, Tessa's Instagram post, 20 feet wide. Jonah and the boat. Caption in bold, screaming across the room. Gasps puncture the silence like bullets. Slide 2, mortgage statements, red arrows pointing to my name alone on the liability line. Slide 3, the codicil, grandma's handwriting enlarged, the clause underlined in blood red. My voice doesn't shake. I've practiced this in the mirror until the words felt like armor. For 6 years, I paid $2,400 monthly. That's $206,400 in principal. Add taxes, repairs, Jonah's, emergencies, total $312,880. With compound interest per grandma's codicil, $412,880. Dad stands, face the color of ash left too long in a fireplace. This is a celebration. No, Dad. This is an intervention. Mom clutches his arm, pearls trembling like she's about to choke on them. Mira has always been jealous of Jonah's family. Jealous. I laugh, and it sounds like breaking glass. I subsidized your fairy tale. I paid for the dock you Instagrammed your sunsets from. I paid for the furnace that kept your grandchildren warm while I froze in a studio apartment with a space heater. I paid for the marble island you complained was too cold for your morning smoothie. Now the bill's due. Aunt Selena rises from her table in the back, silver braids swinging like a pendulum. Richard Voss, as executor, I'm petitioning for your immediate removal as trustee. The lake house lists tomorrow. Proceeds pay off the mortgage, then reimburse Mira with interest. Jonah lunges again. This time, the bouncers wear tuxedos and earpieces. He's dragged out screaming about blood and betrayal and how I am tearing the family apart. Mom collapses into a chair, sobbing theatrically into a napkin that probably cost more than my first car. Dad stares at me like I'm a stranger wearing his daughter's face. I step down from the podium. The room parts like the Red Sea. At the door, I pause. Turn back. The mic is still in my hand. Wire transfer by Monday. Or the next presentations in open court. With subpoenas. And discovery. And depositions where you'll have to explain, under oath, why you thought my money was yours to spend. I drop the mic. It hits the hardwood with a thud that echoes like a gavel. 2 weeks later, 3:14 a.m. My phone pings on the nightstand, a sound so sharp it slices through the dark. Incoming wire, $412,880. Voss Trust liquidation. Full settlement. I sit on the kitchen floor, city lights strobing through the blinds in blue and gold. The watch Grandma left me, delicate gold, stopped at 2:47 since the day she died in the hospital bed that smelled of antiseptic and lilies suddenly ticks. I wind it with shaking fingers. It keeps perfect time, as if it's been waiting for this moment. Mom calls from a blocked number. I answer because I need to hear it one last time. Mira, your father's blood pressure is through the roof. He can't even go to the club anymore. Jonah's on a waiting list for an apartment. The boys keep asking why Aunt Mira hates them. You've won. You have the money. Can't you just help? Just a little? You've always been our fixer. I close my eyes. Feel the weight of the watch on my wrist, cool, steady, earned. No, Mom. I'm a financial analyst. And my analysis showed it was a bad investment. I've liquidated my position. I hang up. Block the number. Open a blank spreadsheet. Title, Mira Vega, net worth. Row 1, cash, $412,880. Row 2, self-respect, priceless. Row 3, family, optional. I post on Instagram for the first time in years. No filter. Just me in my kitchen at 3:30 a.m., hair a mess. Eyes red, holding the watch up to the camera. Some legacies are inherited. Others are reclaimed. Hashtag not your ATM, hashtag boundaries are beautiful, asterisk asterisk. Comments flood in within minutes. Asterisk queen. Asterisk. Asterisk, my sister owes me $50K, send the slideshow template. Asterisk. Asterisk, would you forgive them? Asterisk. Asterisk, I'm crying in my cubicle. Thank you. Asterisk. I pin one comment to the top. Forgiveness is free. Access is not. I pour fresh coffee, beans I bought myself, mug I bought myself, life I bought myself. The city wakes outside my window, and for the first time, I'm not paying its rent. I'm not paying anyone's rent. The air out here doesn't demand I prove my worth. It just lets me breathe.